Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Jennifer Oaks here. So today I'm answering a question from one of the people who follows me on Instagram, Raven-Haired Fairy. I'm kind of excited about your question. And she writes, "Hi Jennifer, I wrote to you about a month ago asking you to make a video about transitioning from living with your parents to being more independent, and also more about college, like choosing your major and what degree/certificate you got to work at the spa. You said you would make the video and I understand how busy you are. I just wanted to politely remind you and would greatly appreciate it if you decided to make a video about this. Thank you for the polite reminder." I do need reminders. Yeah, so I lived with my parents as long as I possibly could. I didn't go moving away to a different college out of state or anything. I didn't really have that sort of ambition or drive or desire, really. If I had aspirations to become a big hotshot fashion designer, then maybe, yeah, I would have aspired to go to some big fashion institute in New York or one of the bigger cities, wherever. I don't know. I would have to research colleges, find out which one would be the best fit for me. Definitely, if you have some sort of career aspirations and ambitions, I would suggest talking to your guidance counselor and finding out, what schools around the nation or world are good for you and your major, and find out what you need to do to get into those schools, and then go from there. I actually had aspirations to go to UCLA. Now you're bringing this all back up. I'm just my kids are napping, so I'm trying to film this video right away. But yeah, now that I'm remembering it, I wanted to go to UCLA to study film or something over there. And I thought, well, I have this Florida Bright Futures scholarship. It paid for 75% of my school tuition. So I thought, well, let me just finish my general education here in Florida. It was close to home. I didn't have to stress out about anything because mom and dad paid for all the bills, and they actually bought me a car. That was really generous of them. I realize that now, and I was so ignorant back then to responsibility. And I really admire how my husband had to pay. If you do have more responsibility placed on you, my husband I think he had to buy his car, or maybe his parents helped him a little bit, but he had to pay for his gas and things like that. The more responsibility you take on, the younger you are. I really admire that, because I feel like it gives you a lot more self-discipline, or at least I would think it would, the older you get. Because the more self-discipline you can have, my mom didn't make me clean my room. She didn't make me lift a finger, and I don't want that for my kids. I do want to instill more self-discipline and more work ethic in them at a younger age. And because I see now that I'm older that it's harder to make myself be self-disciplined, or at least I feel like my friends who did have to clean their room and do all this stuff, like chores and vacuum and all that, I feel like they have an easier time keeping up with their homes. Because when you're out of school and everything, it becomes cool to take care of your house. That becomes the thing to do. You want to have the nice house, so I feel like maybe they have it easier. I don't know, because they already are naturally that way, because their parents instilled that discipline into them when they were younger. But yeah, so my advice would be, as long as you possibly can be at home and taken care of, why not live that up and use that time to save money? That's one of my regrets, is that I wasn't very good at saving. I wish I would have asked my mom sooner, because when I finally did move out to my own apartment with my husband, I remember having to iron his clothes, and I was completely clueless. I did not know how to iron clothes. My mom had always ironed everything, and I wish that she would have had me iron before, so that I would know how much work and effort goes into doing that sort of chore. Because all of a sudden, doing the dishes, cleaning the house, cleaning the bathrooms, all of that is no longer mommy's responsibility. It's your responsibility when you move out of the house. And so it was really hard. I remember crying as I was ironing my husband's stuff, because you go from doing nothing to all of a sudden doing everything. And so I was crying, ironing. So don't feel bad, if it's hard. Even if you're living at home and your mom is making you do chores and you're crying, you know what? That crying is good for you. You need to learn how to do all of that stuff, and you have to budget for things. And, I ate at my parents' home as often as I could. My husband and I still eat at my parents' home whenever we can, if you can stay close by to your parents, it's going to be easier for you. If you can learn to cook, if you're not going to be living with your parents, learn to cook, because that's going to save you money when you do move out and mom and dad don't have a hot meal waiting for you when you get home from school. Learn to use that crock pot, learn to make those sandwiches, start researching all of that stuff. I am always so impressed when I watch the Food Network and I see these young kids making these masterpiece meals. That's amazing. I love to cook now, but it took me moving out to appreciate cooking and to want to make rice and to want to cook dinner. I never used to help my parents with jack, and that's horrible. But I feel like it's honest. I'm being honest with you, and maybe some of you guys go through that right now. I don't know. If you are cooking, if you are cleaning, if you are ironing and vacuuming, you have a head start in life, I feel, above what I had, because I wasn't made to do those things, and I feel like it is a very good lesson to learn, and I want my kids to have those skills before they move out of my house, Lord willing. I hope to raise them and live long enough to teach them all of those things so that they are prepared for life. We definitely waited until we had steady, reliable income before we moved out of our parents' home, and my husband was very blessed to get a job at an accounting firm, and so, taxes, that's something that everybody needs to have done, and that's what my husband works in, is the tax, he's a tax accountant. So, I don't know, I guess I'm kind of curious. I don't really know what to say about transitioning from living. I hope that kind of answered the questions about transitioning from my parents to living on my own. I don't really know what to say about that. I mean, we had some money saved up for whatever. I think they have you pay your first month's rent ahead of time. Let's see, you also said more about college, like choosing your major and what degree certificate you got to work at the spa. So yeah, I would definitely talk to a college guidance counselor about choosing your major and what degree, because a lot of people change their major in college several times, and even when they graduate college, they still don't know what they want to do. I was studying broadcast journalism at UCF, and I think I just wanted to be on TV. I liked being on the camera. YouTube works out so well if you're one of those people who likes to be on camera. So I thought broadcast journalism, that deals with cameras and, host type job, like a host type job kind of seemed fun to me. I thought of like Entertainment Tonight, like maybe I could be the host of that show or something, and I thought broadcast journalism. But when I got into broadcast journalism, the teachers hated Entertainment Tonight or entertainment shows, trash TV as they called it, and in high school I thought that was cool, but then I come to find that, there's people out there who despise that type of news. It's not news, and and I realize that now, how unnecessary Hollywood gossip is, and it's really a waste of time. It really is. On the other hand, I'm still guilty of reading up on what's going on with celebrity gossip, but pop culture, whatever. I remember my broadcast journalism, one of my teachers was like, you should have majored in theater, and she was right. I should have majored in theater. That's what my heart really wanted to do, but I didn't major in theater because of my parents. And I thought that maybe if I did broadcast journalism, that would make them happy, because it was more I thought it would be considered more respectable or something because the word journalism was in it. I don't know. I realized I hated politics, and I didn't realize that broadcast journalism was pretty much politics all the way. Like, you were gonna, and then sports, you needed to be able to cover sports and politics. And Oprah Winfrey talked about how she got out of journalism. She hated it too, because she had to interview families whose house had just burned down, or people who, tragedies had just happened to them, and then you were shoving a microphone in their face. How do you feel right now? You don't want to do that to someone who's in pain. And somebody has to obviously report on issues and drama and all that, but I just decided that wasn't going to be me, especially when Orlando got hit by all these hurricanes, and you're watching the news to find out more about what's going on in your city, and you realize that the news anchors are staying overnight working crazy hours. And I just remember thinking, well, if I have kids at home, I don't want to be at work covering a hurricane that's going on. I want to be at home with my children, taking care of them, like giving them everything. And my husband and I, we decided that we wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom, that's what we wanted for our family. Not everybody wants to be a stay-at-home mom. Not everybody can be a stay-at-home mom. There's a bunch of reasons why we decided we wanted that for us. But I hear my son crying. I gotta go get him. Long story short, I ended up deciding that broadcast journalism was not for me. I was not ambitious or like that, or cut out for that job, and I didn't want to pursue an acting career in LA. I didn't want to pursue broadcast journalism. I realized what was important to me in my life and the dreams that I had for myself. I was very blessed to be able to work at Disney World while I was in college, and working in Disney Entertainment was a huge outlet for me, not having moved to Los Angeles and trying to do the whole acting thing. I was able to study and do entertainment. So I was kind of getting my entertainment fix that way. But you kind of realize as you're doing characters at Disney, especially if you're a face character, you realize that you're not always going to be in your early 20s, and you're going to start to get older. And some girls can do it even into their early 30s and everything, but you don't want to be 40. You can't be 40 still being Cinderella unless you look like you're 20. I don't know. How many 40-year-olds do you know that look 20? I don't know any. So I started thinking, well, what do I want to do? I don't want to go into broadcast journalism. I can't be Princess Jasmine forever. What am I going to do? And I thought, well, maybe I want to be a makeup artist, because one of the things that I loved so much at Disney was doing my makeup every day. I loved the false eyelashes. I just loved that whole, it was artistry. You could be creative. It was beauty. It was so much fun, I thought. And so I thought I wanted to be a makeup artist. So I left the broadcast journalism major. Like, I was only 6 credits shy of graduating with my bachelor's degree, and I just quit. And I regret quitting. I wish I would have just switched majors and finished out. I don't know. On the other hand, life happens, and we had bought a house really young, and so I think there was me wanting to make a higher wage really fast and get benefits from Disney. Disney has excellent benefits. But I just thought, well, let me go try out this makeup artistry thing, see how I like that. So I went seasonal in Disney Entertainment a couple years into working in Disney Entertainment. I went seasonal with them, meaning I could just give them random days to work as a face character, while I went off and did other things during the month. So I went to go work at Estee Lauder, at Dillard's at Oviedo Mall, and I sold makeup and skincare there. And I had so many women asking me, will this face cream really work for me? Is this gonna cure my wrinkles and my acne and all this stuff? And I would sell it to them blindly saying, yes, it'll fix all that. You do what they tell you to do. It's whatever you've got a company that's paying you to sell products, and sure, of course it'll do what it says on the label. That's what you tell people. But I didn't know, to be honest. I didn't know what any of those complicated words on the bottles meant. I didn't know any of that stuff, coenzyme Q10, what's that? So I thought, well, I don't want to go to school to become a doctor, like a dermatologist or anything like that. I'll just go and do facials, because I had gotten a facial, and I remember the lady telling me that I would be a good facialist. And I remember thinking, I don't want to be giving facials. I want to be getting facials, not giving them. But I realized how these women were just buying makeup to cover up all the flaws on their face, and they just, I remember thinking, well, if these women would just take care of their skin, they wouldn't need so much makeup. Why, women were just obsessed with makeup, and I just realized how important skincare was for women, and how much they really needed it. So anyway, I went to the Disney Grand Floridian Spa, and I asked them where they hired all of their facialists from, like what schools did they go to, and everyone was telling me the Florida College of Natural Health. And then I called the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, and I was like, well, where do you hire your facialists from? And they also said the Florida College of Natural Health, that's where a lot of we get our facial people from. So I called the Florida College of Natural Health, and they had an office here in Orlando, or a school here in Orlando, and they would certify you. And so I went to their school for a few months and got my facial license. My son is walking around the base of the camera here, so he might shake it around, sorry. So I went and I got my facial license with the Florida College of Natural Health, and I realized, like, that's what I loved. Hey, my son has this sword, and he's like pointing it at me. He's walking now, for those who don't know. He's 11 months and walking, and I'm so proud. On guard. Here's the sword. On guard. On guard. I hope I'm answering your question properly. What am I leaving out? I need more specifics. Maybe I can go over it again in another video, a more in-depth video about this topic. Working at Disney's Grand Floridian Spa, I worked with a lot of former Disney Entertainment cast members. An Aladdin that I used to work with ended up becoming my manager at Disney's Grand Floridian Spa. I worked with a former Tinkerbell. I worked with a former parade show dancer at Magic Kingdom. I worked with, my friend Rachel, who performed Snow White. I worked with, there were some other characters too. So just a lot of people from Disney Entertainment actually ended up going into something related to beauty. Another Princess Jasmine I worked with became a hairstylist, so it's kind of funny how that happened. I think that we all kind of loved beauty and spa, la-di-da-di stuff, so that's why we gravitated towards that. Yeah. But anyway, so I hope you liked this video. I hope it was helpful in some way. Comment below any other questions that you might have that are related to this topic, and maybe I can address those questions in a future video. Comment below if you know what you want to major in, or maybe you know what you want to do. I'd love to find out what you guys are into. And all right, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you all, and have a great day. All right, bye-bye.